iPhone 10. What's up guys, TJ here with another TJ Tech Talk video. If you like these types of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also hit that bell icon so you can get notifications whenever I release new content. So today we have a glorious event, of course, for all the Apple fanboys. And that is going to be the Apple Keynote 2017 event where they unveil all the great Apple things, the Apple iPhone 8, the Apple iPhone 8 Plus, and the iPhone 10. So I know I made a video the other day, and you know there's a bunch of leaks that came out, and the majority of the leaks was true. The edition thing was not necessarily all that true. But a lot of people were speculating that it was going to be the Apple iPhone X. And it is X, but the X is a Roman numeral, it's 10. I don't know why they skipped 9, but they did, so whatever. So we're going to jump right into it right now. Alright, so we're going to start with the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus. So let's jump right into the specs of the iPhone 8. I'm just going to put them up right here on the screen. These are the internal specs, the geeky kind of stuff. It will have an A11 Bionic chip is what they're calling it, and I guess the Bionic is kind of like a cool, I don't know, it reminds me like of an Android kind of thing. Not Android like Google, but like Android like iRobot kind of thing. So A11 Bionic chip is going to be a chip, and this is going to be all the specs that is for that. It will also aesthetically have all glass. So it'll be glass on the front as well as the back, and it's also going to have the aluminum body. It's going to be water and dust proof. It's going to have the Retina HD display. Now, the iPhones have always had a really bright screen with vibrant colors and things like that, but this new Retina HD display is going to be, you know, super bright. You know, they talked about the brilliant colors that it is going to be able to display on the screen. And the iPhone 8 is going to measure in at 4.7 inches, and the 8 Plus is going to measure in at 5.5 inches, and that is diagonally. Alright, let's jump into the camera. So since I've been doing these YouTube videos, I'm very interested in the camera, especially when I'm on the go. I don't have my DSLR camera, and I like, you know, taking those quick shots and, you know, uploading them to, you know, wherever social media. And having a phone that can take the quality photos of a DSLR camera is really cool, and it's a really good idea to have an iPhone for that. So my iPhone, which is a 6 Plus, it has a really good camera. It's not as good as my Note phone that I used to have. It's just a little bit different. I've noticed that the iPhones, they let in a little more light whenever you take photos, so that tends to make the photograph appear to be, you know, crisper and things like that. But you know, when you zoom in, sometimes it's not as crisp as when I had my Galaxy Note phone. We're not talking about the Note right now, we're talking about the iPhone, and we're going to jump into the camera settings. The rear camera is going to be a 12 megapixel camera. It's going to have the dual lenses. It's going to have a telephoto lens and also a wide angle lens, which is going to be really neat for taking those up close kind of selfie photos and taking wider angle shots like some of these I'm going to display right now. Also, another thing that I was interested in is, since I've been into photography and videography, I've learned about things like the f-stop, and this phone does have an f-stop 1.8 as well as f-stop 2.8 camera on the back. So one is going to be will go all the way to 1.8, the other will go all the way to 2.8, and it's going to really give you that shallow depth of field, that bokeh, that blurry background that everybody loves. And that you're gonna be able to do that right with your, you know, with your iPhone. You don't have to pull out your big old heavy clunky DSLR camera to get that bokeh and things like that. The camera also has an all new sensor. It's gonna have deeper pixels. It's gonna have new color filters, and it's gonna have optical image stabilization. So it's going to be good for people that do action kind of videos, you know, taking photos or video while you're surfing, or while you're skiing, or while you're moving around, or while you're hiking or running, or you're trying to follow a dog around. You know, it's going to give you that stabilization with your video as well as your photographs, and that's a really neat feature for a phone. Also, the front facing camera, they have introduced the portrait mode for the front camera. So we are used to having that portrait mode on the rear camera, and we always, you know, it's kind of awkward trying to turn around and take photos unless you have like a selfie stick or somebody's taking a photo of you. But now you can do that with the front-facing camera. You can use that portrait mode for your front-facing camera, and it's really neat, some of the filters that they have. And they said that they weren't filters. What they are is different lighting settings. So, you know, right now I have like several different lights in my studio, my office studio here, and depending on where I have the camera located, it's going to cascade different light. But what this phone will allow you to do is it will mimic those light movements on your face directly from the phone. You know, depending on whatever light you have, you can actually change the light patterns, which is really neat, and can create some really cool dynamic photos. I saw one that they were showing, and it was like kind of a portrait photo, and it completely blacked out the entire background, and it was just like a really neat, almost editorial kind of photo right there on your iPhone. It's really, really cool. So that's pretty much it for the camera on the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus. But also they were talking about the wireless charging, and I know this wireless charging technology has been around for a while with Android devices, but they were showing a really neat kind of pad looking thing. They called it the Air Power. They was able to make a larger pad where you can put multiple devices on. You can put your iPhone 10 on there. You can put your Apple Watch Series 3 on there, and you can also put your earbuds, your wireless earbuds in there, and charge them all simultaneously at the same time. And actually on your iPhone device, you can actually look at all three of the devices that are being charged and see how much they've been charged and how long they have to charge. So I thought that was a really cool, neat feature, and I like the way that the technology is going. And what they was trying to do with that was encourage other developers to actually make these types of devices because they have that technology there. So the AirPower is not necessarily out. They didn't put it out and say it was going to be available for purchase, but they did display it and show us. So I'm assuming that eventually it is going to come out. Alright, so that's all for the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus. We're going to jump over to what everybody has been waiting for, the iPhone X, or it's iPhone 10, really is what it is. And we'll talk about that right now. Alright, so the iPhone 10. We're going to talk about the iPhone 10 now. Now, the price for the iPhone 10 is going to start at $999. And I'm assuming that's for the 64 gigabyte size. They didn't specifically say, or if they did say that, I must have missed it, but I think that's for the 64 gigabyte. I believe all of these devices are going to come in either 64 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes. So you'll have either this or that. And at the end of this video, I'll display the prices for each one of the devices. Alright, so the iPhone 10, that's the device that everybody's been waiting on. So this is really like the Pro version of the iPhone. It's really, they've really beefed up and turned up everything on it. It will have all glass. It'll have glass on the front as well as the back. And instead of having the aluminum bezel or the aluminum body, it will have a stainless steel body. So this is going to be like your kitchen stainless steel that you can shine and have that really cool shiny exterior on your phone. Now, the only thing that I have a problem with is because they create these beautiful phones, you know, with these glass backs and with these aluminum and with these chrome or stainless steel bezels, but then you have to slap a OtterBox on there, and that really pisses me off. But you know what, whatever, I can't do anything about it. It will also be dust and waterproof as well. It will have a super, you heard me right, a super retina display. So this right here is the OLED that everybody's been using, but this is like on steroids. This is going to give you like the brightest, deepest colors that your eyes can imagine. The screen is going to be 5.8 inches in diameter diagonally, and it's going to have it's going to be 2436 by 1125 pixels. So that is a lot of pixels in a small tiny screen. It's also going to have 458 ppi as well as the OLED technology. Now they're not calling it OLED, they're calling it the Super Retina display. And that's going to be on the phone. We're not talking about a MacBook Pro, we're talking about on the iPhone. It's going to be neat. Another big thing that is a confirmed feature, I know a lot of people speculated about it and there was a lot of talk about it, but they actually did remove the home button on the iPhone 10 device. So there is no home button, and it's going to take a lot of getting used to, but essentially what you would do is from the bottom of the phone you would swipe up and that is going to give you the same illusion as pushing the home button. But what that does do is give you a bunch of real estate at the top and at the bottom of the screen for, you know, your screen, your video, your photos, whatever. And so I thought that was pretty neat that they was able to utilize that screen, get rid of the home button, but still have the functionality that we are used to. Now, let's talk about one of the other big features that I'm really excited about. And I wasn't really excited about it until I actually saw it being displayed, and they kind of talked a little bit about it, but that is the facial recognition. So I just really like where that technology is going. When I switched over to the iPhone, I never set up like a touch screen or a touch or a fingerprint unlock on my phone. You know, I had several Galaxy devices that had the touch or the fingerprint technology, but I never set it up before because it was, you know, it was a little cumbersome to use. The home button was kind of weird with your fingerprint, and it you know, it just seemed like gimmicky. It seemed stupid to me. But now that I actually have an iPhone, I live by that touch. I mean, I don't have to remember any passwords, or for the most part, I don't have to remember passwords. I can just set everything up on my Touch ID. When I download an app and it says, you know, do you want to set up Touch ID? I'm like, yes, you know. So anyway, with the facial recognition, it's going to give you the same thing, except instead of, you know, you don't have a phone, you don't have an actual button for your fingerprint to go on. This is going to actually shoot thousands of dots on your face, and it's going to actually set up your facial profile. It's going to set up your facial profile. And so when you go to unlock the phone, the only thing you have to do is look at it. You'll see it's locked, it'll unlock, and you swipe up, boom, you're into the phone. It's also going to be the same with like your banking apps. Anything that you use the Touch ID for, you will be able to use the facial recognition for. And I'm hoping that it's going to be as secure as, you know, you want it to be, because this will also work for your Apple Pay and things like that. And I use Apple Pay quite a bit. I use it for the ATM, I use it at restaurants, I use it at gas stations. So I'm assuming that it's going to be a very secure feature, you know, but I just like the way that the technology is going with the facial recognition, and it actually getting a mold of your face. Now, since we're talking about the facial recognition and the facial things, they are also introducing kind of an augmented reality thing, and I'll show a little short clip of what I'm talking about. But it's actually going to be augmented reality, where you're going to see your surrounding through your camera, but it's going to actually have like maybe a game or something like that, where you can actually interact with the surroundings. You know, you may have to move your camera to get to a vantage point to shoot or something like that, you know, or dip around the corner, and it's actually going to be right there at your kitchen table. So I thought that was pretty neat. Another thing is the animojis. I hope I'm saying that right. Animojis. So it's emojis, but you can animate it. So what it'll actually do is it will do the facial recognition that they do when you unlock the phone, but it will get key muscles in your face and the expressions, and so you can send these emojis to people and, you know, make faces and move your head around. It's going to actually be the emoji doing it. So I thought that was a really cool thing to incorporate, especially for you know, something funny to send to people. Also, really quickly, I want to talk about the camera section they have. So I'm talking about, if you can see this, I'm talking about the top portion. The top portion of the phone up here. So they are calling that the True Depth camera system. So they have packed so many things into that small sliver of screen up there. It's going to have the front-facing camera. It's going to have all the things for the facial recognition, and the demonstration on that is really cool. If you haven't seen the entire keynote event, you need to go back and look at that, because I thought that was really neat. The you know, just kind of the way that they're going with compacting everything really tight. That little section will have, it's going to have the infrared camera, it's going to have the flood illuminator, the front camera, and the dot projector. And the dot projector is going to be the thing that's going to shoot the thousands of dots on your face. You're going to get all the features of your face to do the actual facial recognition. So I just like the way that things are going. I think they're going to be able to incorporate this dot projection technology, and it's going to be more towards like 3D or augmented reality, you know, like with gear, like with virtual reality gear and things like that. You know, the technology is moving in that direction. I think that's really neat that they incorporate that into a, you know, a device like a phone device. All right, so the iPhone 8 is going to be, for the 64 gigabyte, it's going to start at $699. For the iPhone 8 Plus, it is going to be $799, and the iPhone 10 is going to be $999. So there is a trend with these new flagship smartphones of being $1,000. So how do you guys feel about that? You know, I'm used to paying, you know, $700 for a phone, $800 for a phone, but $1,000 is a lot of money for a cell phone, and especially with these companies like Verizon and Sprint that's making you actually purchase the phone outright. What are y'all thoughts on that? Alright, so that's all I got for today. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have any questions, just shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or go to my website, www.tjlovelady.com. Shoot me a message and I'll get right back with you. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks, guys.